Hi guys, in this video we'll be learning about Claude. If you've heard about Claude but aren't sure what it actually is, this video covers everything. We'll walk through the basics of Claude, Claude Code and what you get for free, what's behind a paywall, all the plans and every platform you can use it on. So let's get right into it. So let's start with understanding what is Claude. So Claude is an AI assistant made by Anthropic. You can chat with it, ask questions, get help with writing, coding, searching, analysis, and a lot more. It understands context across a whole conversation, reasons through complex problems, and gives you straight, honest answers, including sometimes when it's uncertain. Now that we know what Claude is, let's understand what Claude provides us for free. So now if you head to Claude AI and log in, you should be able to see a chat window like this. So now you can chat with Claude in the same way you chat with ChatGPT. You can ask questions, write code, analyze, search web and a lot more. Along with that, for free you only get access to the Sonnet and Haiku models. You don't get access to the Opus model, which is the premium models provided by Claude. Now that we know what Claude provides us for free, let's understand what is behind a paywall. So behind a paywall are higher usage limits. So Claude provides quite good usage limits when you have pro or enterprise plans. After that, it also gives you a priority access. That is, during peak hours, free users might feel slower responses. On the other hand, the paid users get faster responses. You get Claude Code. So what is Claude Code? Claude Code is a terminal coding agent that you can directly integrate with your project. It has access to your project. It can clone, commit, edit and everything with your project. Along with that, it also gives you access to Opus models, which is one of the most powerful model provided by Claude. Now that we know what is behind a paywall and what is for free, let's understand what are the plans provided by Claude. So there are three plans provided by Claude. One is Pro plan. So if you are just starting with Claude or don't have a very heavy usage, so in that case I would suggest you go ahead with Pro. You get access to Claude Code and all the features that are provided by Claude. Just the usage limit would be limited as compared to max 5x or max 20x, but it will be 5 to 6 times higher than the free usage. Now if you have a very intensive or heavy tasks, in that case you can go ahead with max 5x or max 20x depending on your usage. Along with individual plan, Claude also comes with teams and enterprise plans. So now out of that, one is Claude API, which is basically a pay as you go model. After that, they also have team and enterprise plans. Now you can decide which plan suits you the best based on the usage and the team size that you have in your organization. Now that we have an idea about all the pricing plans and which is best for you, let's move ahead to understanding using what all platforms you can use Claude. So now Claude is majorly available on 5 different platforms. First is web app, that is Claude AI that we saw earlier. Then there is iPhone or iOS app and Android app for Claude. It is also available as a desktop application on Windows as well as a Mac. After that, the most used one is Claude Code, which is for developers. That is, you can use Claude in terminal. So Claude Code also has access to your terminal, so it can do the various different things on your terminal. Beyond that, Claude can be also accessed via different IDs like VS Code, JetBrains, etc. So moving ahead, we'll be learning about setting all of these up one by one. Now downloading and using Claude application on mobile is very simple. You can just go to your Play Store or App Store, find for Claude application and download it. Once downloaded, just log in and then you are free to use the application. Now, in order to download Claude on Windows, I'll be putting this particular link in the description. You can just go to the link and then click on download for Windows. It should automatically detect your platform. If it does not, then you can get other download options below. Now, after downloading, you can see an exe file in case of a Windows setup. Now we'll just double click on this exe. This will start installing and downloading Claude. Now once Claude Desktop is installed, you can just log in using your Gmail. Now once Claude is logged in, you should be able to see a chat window. Now I can start chatting with Claude right here. For example, I can ask it to make a small Hello World Go application for me, and it should respond to this particular question. This is how you can install and use Claude Desktop. I'll be making a detailed video on how to use Claude Desktop later on and posting it on my channel. So make sure to subscribe to get the latest updates. Now that we have understood how to use and install Claude Desktop, let's now move ahead to install and use Claude Code. So I'll be putting this link in the description below. Once you land on this link, you'll see the Get Started guide. Now note that in order to use this particular Claude Code, you'll need a Claude subscription. It will work with Pro or Max, both of these subscriptions. Now let's move ahead. If you are on Mac OS or Linux, in that case, what you'll do is you'll just copy this command and paste in your terminal. Now, since I am on Windows, I'll just take the IRM command. I'll copy this and I'll open PowerShell and I'll paste the command. This should install Claude for me. Now you can see the Claude installation was successful, but there's a setup node present below. Now if I try to type in Claude without executing the setup node, then it will give me an error saying Claude is not recognized. So now what I'll do is I'll follow the setup instructions. I'll copy the path. I'll search for system variables. At the bottom right, I should see environment variables. I'll open it. Now inside the user variables, there should be path. I'll open that and I'll add the copy line below. Now again, I'll do the same inside system variables. I'll search for path and then add that particular line. I'll hit OK and then I'll close all of the pop-ups. Once that is done, I'll open a new PowerShell instance and type in Claude and it should work for me. Now I'll go ahead and choose dark mode. I'll choose Claude account with subscription. Note that you needed a subscription for this. So now I'll follow the login instructions and then let's meet ahead in the video. Now after logging in, if I try to type in Claude here again, I should be able to see it's working. And now in order to open Claude Code instance here, I'll have to trust the workspace. Once I do that, you can see a Claude Code instance is open for me. Now I can type in my prompts here and start working with Claude Code. Now let's say if you don't want to work on Claude Code using the terminal, in that case you can also use the Claude Desktop app. So you'll open the Claude Desktop app. Now inside that there should be a code section at the top. Now in order to work in a particular folder, you'll have to select that folder. Now once you select that folder will be provided as a context to Claude Code. You can now refer to the files present in that folder. So basically Claude Code instance is running inside that particular folder. But for this video, we'll be focusing on Claude Code terminal. Now that we have set up Claude Code, we'll now put it to test. So what you can see on my screen is basically an empty Git repository. and that particular folder or git repository is opened inside Visual Studio Code. So what we'll be doing is basically we'll be asking Claude to make a very simple snake game for us. So we'll be giving a prompt to it and we expect a game as an output for this particular prompt. Now note, it is very important to have GitHub repository here, because without that you won't be able to maintain any versions. So let's say if Claude makes any mistake, you won't be able to roll back to the previous versions, so which will be a problem. Now I'll prompt Claude Code in order to make a snake game for me using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. I also want the game to have restart functionality. Along with that, it should open the game for me once the game is written. So now you can see once I've given my prompt as an input, it has started working on it. You can see spinning here. Along with that, the tokens are increasing. So what is token? Token is basically a unit of text or code that is referred by the AI. So now tokens include both the input, that is the queries that you give, along with that the output that it generates. And your usage limit is dependent on how many tokens you consume. The more tokens you consume, the faster the user usage limits will expire, and vice versa. Now you can see before running any action, it asks you whether you want to give it permission or not to run a particular action. So you can decide whether you want to allow it or not. Now you can see so fast my game was made, and I can play the game here. Now I'll ask Claude to commit the changes that it has made to GitHub repository. Note that for this to work, you'll have to install Git CLI locally. Along with that, you'll have to log in to your respective GitHub account. Now before committing or pushing, it will ask you permissions if you want to allow those particular actions. If you do, then it will automatically commit and push. Now you can see here my repository was initially empty. If I refresh, the code has been pushed here. Now here you can see all of the code is inside index.html file. So I've asked Claude to divide the whole project into multiple files logically. So now you can see it has started working, and it's working on dividing the files logically. For that it is using thinking. Now once it makes the changes, it will automatically commit and push the changes to GitHub. You can change the behavior, but normally I would prefer you keep it like this. So now you can see it has divided the whole project into CSS, HTML and JS section. Now let's say we want to change the styling of the game. Now for this project, styles.css handles the styling of this project. So what I can do is I can give an @ symbol. So basically using @ I can refer to that particular file or folder to Claude. Now I can say that styles.css basically handles the style for this project, and I want to make it look more modern and realistic. Now this will do the required changes, commit and push those changes. So once that is done, you can see this looks much more better than the previous version. Now that we know how to reference files and folders in Claude Code, let's understand slash commands. So what are slash commands? Slash commands are text-based shortcuts used to execute predefined utility tasks. So when you type in slash, a menu will be loaded in front of you. So for example, if I want to see what is the usage, I can type in slash usage, which will give me the current usage of the session. Now let's see, I want to see which model is being currently used. I'll type in slash model and that will load the model list for me. From here I can select a model and change the model for me. Now in the similar way I can have a lot of things, for example slash effort. So whenever you are trying to build new things, how much effort or thinking should Claude put into it? You can adjust that. The more effort or thinking you put, the more tokens will be used. Now in a similar way we have slash clear, which will basically clear the conversation history, but it will still have context to your projects and your files and folders. Now here you can see there's a huge list of menu to choose from for slash commands. Now we won't be going through all the slash commands in this particular video. I'll be probably making a separate video about slash commands which are commonly used in day-to-day development lifecycle of a project. Now there are three different modes in which Claude Code can be used. So the first mode that we have is accept edits on. So what this means is basically before Claude Code changes anything, you'll have to accept the changes that Claude Code makes. So you'll have to accept the edits basically that Claude Code is making. The second mode that we have is a plan mode. So in this mode, basically before coding anything, Claude will make a whole plan of what it is going to change and what it is going to do for a particular change. Now you'll have to review the plan and accept the plan. Only after that will Claude Code start coding. The third mode that we have is an auto mode. So this is an auto mode in which whatever task you give, it won't prompt you anything. It will just keep on doing that. It won't ask you to accept any edits or anything else. So let's say if you want to start a task and then go AFK, so you can just put it in auto mode and then give it a task that it can complete. But note, it can access whatever commands while it's in auto mode, so you'll have to be a bit careful while using this. Now you can change between any of these modes using Shift tab. So you can see when I press Shift tab, it changes to accept edits on. When I do it again, it changes to plan mode on. When I do it again, then it goes to auto mode on. And if I do it again, it goes to default, which is accept edits on. Now there is one more way to use Claude Code, that is IDE extensions. So now if you go inside Visual Studio Code, inside the extensions tab, if you search for Claude, you should be able to see a Claude Code extension. Once you install the extension, on the left hand side you should be able to see a Claude tab. Now once you click on the Claude tab, I can see my previous conversation. If I want, I can go there and resume the conversation. Now let's say if you want to start a new session, in that case a new Claude tab will be open for you. Now you can adjust this Claude tab according to your liking. What I generally prefer is keeping the Claude tab on the right hand side and keeping my code on the left hand side. It becomes much easier to refer to the code and what Claude suggests for me. Here as well we can use @ in order to refer a particular file or folder from a project. Now the slash commands that we used earlier while in the terminal are also valid inside the Claude Code extension. For example, you can adjust the effort by typing in slash effort, and similar way all the other slash commands are valid here as well. Now this marks the end of understanding of basics of Claude and Claude Code. Now if you liked the video and learned something from it, I would request you to like, subscribe and support the channel.